Welcome to our newsline. You're watching ERi-TV English news broadcast live from our headquarters in Asmara. I'm Han Barkhat. Let's first look at the top stories that are making headlines today. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. World HIV/AIDS Day observed. Michigan school shooting, student kills 3 and wound 8. Roadside bomb explosion hits U.S. military supply convoy. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. 35 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers and testing stations in the central, southern, northern Red Sea, and Gashbarka regions. Out of these, 25 patients are from quarantine centers 10 and testing stations in Travalo 4, Gajera 2, Maitemenai 2, Makal Katama 2, Denden Camp 1, Adika 1, Gazabrahanu 1, Dajerman 1, and Abashawil 1, Central Region. 7 patients are from testing stations in Maimene 5 and Mendefera 2, Southern Region. 2 patients are from testing stations in Mahimet 1 and Ginda 1, Northern Red Sea Region. The last patient is from testing stations in Barontu, Ashbarka region. On the other hand, 35 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the Central 19, Southern 14, and Gashbarka 2 regions have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 7,131, while the number of deaths stands at 60. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 7,393. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 1 December 2021. World HIV/AIDS Day was observed today, 1 December, at national level at the Roadside Referral Hospital Hall in Asmara under the theme Ending Inequality, Ending AIDS, Ending Pandemic, indicating that even though the number of infections in the country is not alarming, there are still vulnerable members of the society. Dr. Araya Brahane, head of the communicable diseases at the Ministry of Health, said that Eritrea is contributing its part to realize the global initiative to ending HIV/AIDS by 2030. Commending the progress Eritrea has registered in the controlling the prevalence of the killer disease, Ms. Teres Poire, UNAIDS country director, called for community-based efforts to totally eradicate the disease that is still posing the major threat worldwide. According to the report presented by Sister Nigisti Tesfa Mikael, head of the HIV/AIDS control unit at the Ministry of Health, the number of infections in the country to date is 0.36% and called for integrated effort on the part of stakeholders for better outcome. The event was featured with artistic and cultural performances depicting the day. The governor of the Central Region, Mr. Fsahaye Haile, called the newly elected area administrators, managing directors, and village coordinators to live up to the public expectation and diligently and fairly serve the people that elected them. The call was made during an interview the governor conducted with ERINA, commending the concerns and strong participation of residents in the election conducted at the 16 administrative areas starting from 7 November. Mr. Fsahaye called on the elected area administrators, managing directors, and village coordinators to play a leading role in ensuring social justice. The governor of the Central Region, Mr. Fsahaye Haile, also commended the outgoing area administrators, managing directors, and village coordinators for their relentless efforts in the fight to contain the spread of COVID-19 pandemic and called on them to transfer their experiences and expertise to newly elected administrators. According to the report from the Central Regional Administration, over 300 representatives from each administrative area participated at the elections conducted, respecting the guidelines issued to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Out of the elected 83 administrative areas and 83 managing directors, 31% were females, and out of this, 209 village coordinators, 45% were females. This year's election were delayed by a year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The residents of Addis Shumag in that subzone are involving the missionary-supported water diversion scheme renovation campaign. Through the popular campaign that is being conducted before the start of the rainy season of the area, 50% of the renovation process have been completed, and the rest is expected to be finalized by mid-December. Engineer Keseta Gabra Mikael, one of the coordinators of the project, said, indicating that the objective of the water diversion scheme renovation activity is to enhance agricultural production by increasing the size of the area of farmlands. Engineer Keseta stated that after the completion of the renovation project, the size of the farmland that has 150 hectares is expected to rise to 350 hectares. Additional water diversion scheme that was constructed by the government in 1997 has been damaged by the heavy flooding since 2019. We will be back with international news. Stay tuned. A 15-year-old has killed 3 fellow students and injured 8 others, including a teacher in a high school shooting in the U.S. state of Michigan. Police received the first emergency calls from the high school in the town of Oxford, about 40 miles from Detroit, at 12:51 local time. Officials say the suspect surrendered 5 minutes after the police were called when officers confronted the teenager in school corridor. No shots were fired during the arrest, and the suspect was not injured, police said, adding that he was carrying a semi-automatic handgun that still contained 7 rounds of ammunition at the time. The precise sequence of events remain unclear, but police said they believed the youth had carried the weapon into school in a backpack and had emerged from a bathroom brandishing the gun. After a brief dip last year during coronavirus lockdowns, the number of such attacks has rebounded, with 138 incidents of gunfire on school grounds so far in 2021. Roadsiding a bomb has reportedly struck on a convoy of trucks carrying military equipment and logistics supplies for U.S. troops in Syria. Syria's official news agency Sana, citing local sources, reported that the blast took place on Wednesday when the convoy of vehicles was passing near Samalka border crossing. The U.S. military has stationed forces and equipment in eastern and northeastern Syria, with the Pentagon claiming that the deployment is aimed at preventing the oil fields in the area from falling into the hands of Daesh terrorists. Damascus, however, says the unlawful deployment is meant to plunder the country's resources. Former USA President Donald Trump admitted on several occasions that American forces were in Syria for its oil. Before we close for today's news, let's have a recap of the headlines tonight. Announcement from the Ministry of Health. World HIV/AIDS Day observed. Michigan school shooting, student kills 3 and wounds 8. Roadside bomb explosion hits U.S. military supply convoy. That was all for today's news. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.